You know what? We're going to talk a little about Dragon's Dogma. So, that link did not go to where it's supposed to go. Oh my god. Okay. Here we go. I guess we'll skip ahead. So, recently there was all of, a bunch of games announced, all that stuff. Capcom had their recent game showcase along with everybody else doing their own game showcases. Um, During this, Dragon's Dogma 2 was shown. If you've not played Dragon's Dogma, please go play Dragon's Dogma. It's so good. I should go back and play it again. So the thing that was cool about Dragon's Dogma is you had this really neat party system. So you had your main character, and then you had what was known as a pawn. A pawn was basically a character that you made yourself. You could set it to be whatever class you wanted, give it whatever gear you wanted, and this would be someone who just follows you around, helping you in your party. But you can also have two other party members. This is where it gets really cool. It's not regular characters you would see in like a normal RPG. It's pawns of other characters. So you would go into this like magical crystal thing, and then it gives you some bullshit lore reason for why they can join your game. But the important part is they join your game from other players' worlds. And they don't level with you. This is what also makes it cool. So you can't just grab a pawn that you're like, this is a really cool pawn. I'm just going to run this for the entire game. Because if you get it at level 5, it is level 5. So you have to get rid of that pawn and then bring another one in. So you're sort of constantly shifting in these new party members, trying out different strategies. Maybe you're going to bring a caster in, you're going to bring this archer in. Maybe you want to get rid of pawns that maybe you're going to fight an enemy that is really magic resistant. So you want to get rid of the magic pawns and bring some physical pawns in. This is all stuff that's really, really cool. I'm unsure where the story is going to go from here. We don't really know much about the story as is, but the world looks cool. Like, it just looks like more Dragon's Dogma. I don't even care that even if it's the exact same story. Like, it could be literally just the same story at a different time in history. Doesn't matter. All that matters is it's Dragon's Dogma. And the nice thing about the party members, this was one of the first games I played where I felt like the party members weren't morons. Like, you play a game with AI party members and you're like, these characters feel useless. They feel like they're a waste of time. Like Skyrim, for example. Like, you have Lydia in your party and then she just runs off a cliff. Like, why? In Dragon's Dogma, the party members understand, like, what the enemies can do. So if you're fighting a Cyclops, for example, the enemies aren't, like, the party members you have, like, they understand what a Cyclops is. So they're like, hey, attack its eye, hit it with this kind of magic. Like, they give you hints that make sense they make sense lore-wise to understand the enemy's weaknesses, because these are these are warriors from some other area. So it's likely that they fought some of these enemies before. So it makes sense that they can give you hints on what the enemies can do without having to have some like contrived like magic reason. Like, you have a spell like Libra in Final Fantasy, and it's just like, it tells you the enemy's stats. It tells you the enemy's weaknesses. Without having something like that, you have a perfectly sensible lore reason to explain to the player how to better fight these enemies. Also, one of the nice things about Dragon's Dogma is you can, like, climb onto big enemies. Like, you're fighting a Cyclops, you, like, grab onto its face and just fucking stab it in the eye. Or, like, you're fighting a Griffin and you just jump on its back. Or, like, in this case, fighting a Cyclops. You, like, grab on its leg and just fucking start stabbing in the dick. It's like, this is cool. This is just a cool game. It's built on the RE engine, which I don't know what that is. I'm guessing it's some in-house engine, which is probably a modified Unreal Engine because everything is. But from what I'm seeing here, it just looks a lot like Dragon's Dogma did. Also, it has... The combat was like... It comes off weird if you're watching the combat, but when you're doing melee combat, there is this slight pause when you hit an enemy, which looks weird when you're watching, but it kind of adds some, like, extra impact, especially when you knock an enemy away. Like, you hit them with a giant greatsword, and there's this slight pause, and they fucking fly off. Like, it just looks cool. Also, this bit is cool. This is how you get yourself killed. And And it's a bad idea because you'll run out of stamina and just die. In this case, the character is attached to a griffin that is flying at enough height where if you fell off, you just die. Um, so if your stamina runs out, you just die. So the game lets you do things like that. It's a super cool way of handling combat. It's nice that a lot of the systems from Dragon's Dogma 1 just seem to be returning like as is. There's a lot of things in the game that didn't really need to change. I think the only thing that really needed to change is there were some classes that just were not good to play. Like, if you tried to play a support mage, it was just not good gameplay. Because you were just not getting involved in anything. Like, you were a support mage. Like, which is fine if it's a party member. Or, like, some of the some of the casters, for example, or some of the enemies, for example, are so immune to magic that if you are playing a caster, you do not hurt the enemies. Like, you have to wait for your party members to kill the enemy, because that is all you can do. From my experience, the melee characters played the best, but yeah, I hope they address some of those problems. Like that's probably my only big concern. Make the magical characters feel more useful in more situations. Because they are so cool. Like being able to rain meteors from the sky, or summon a giant tornado, or like blasting the entire field with like an ice nova. Like all of this stuff is so cool. But when you run into like big enemies that aren't even that, like they're not even like a boss or something weird, it's just like an enemy out in the overworld and it's pretty much immune to magic, it's a little bit annoying. Maybe add some system where you can add magic resist to these enemies if you run across them, so you can like synergize between your party members, something like that. But, you know, or maybe I know you could also just change your class pretty much at will. Maybe make that even more convenient or something like that. I don't know what exactly they're going to do as the game comes out, but I want to go play Dragon's Dogma 1 again, because it's been a long time, and it's fun. It's just fun. And that's all that matters. It's just a pure, fun RPG. It's made by, like, it's one of those, it's one of those RPGs that doesn't try to bog you down with story. Like, there are certainly the story beats, there's like characters you can talk to, there's cutscenes, there is a story that goes through, but it's more focused on your actions in the world. Like, you can just be like, story? What? I'm just gonna go to the thing and do the thing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, like, just focus on your adventure through the world. Most of the time when I was playing the game, I just kind of ignored what the game wanted me to do and just, like, did a thing. Like, from my experience, I don't remember there being a lot of hard walls in the world. You know, segments where you can't progress forward because you are not allowed through here, adventurer. You must go complete this quest. You could just go to areas that were way too difficult for you and just die. Or you could win. Because that's the nice thing. If it's one of those games where if you were a good player, you could win most encounters even if you really shouldn't have been there. Especially once you started getting some of the more powerful magic. Like being able to summon a fucking meteor or summon a tornado that just eliminates everything. But there were definitely the difficult encounters as well. Like, you know, you go fight a dragon the first time, you're like, oh shit, I'm dead now. Oh, that's good. I remember in Dragon's Dogma 1, the first time you see a dragon outside of the tutorial sort of, there's like a segment at the start of the game where you're like super powerful, you're at like the peak of your class, and then you lose everything. Like, you know, games like to do this to introduce the world. But when you go fight your first dragon after that, it's in this forest, and you don't realize it's there because it's like hiding between the trees, but then like, and you die. That's pretty much how it goes. Or you win because you notice it's there, and then you actually don't get lit on fire and have your entire health bar just vanish. Maybe I'll actually go and stream Dragon's Dogma. I don't remember it being a super long game. Maybe it was. I don't know. Being an RPG, it very much depends on how much of the side stuff you do. Dark Arisen length. Okay. If you try to complete everything, 118 hours. If you just do the main story, 38 hours. If you do the main story and then the post-game content, it's 55 hours.